first thing I wanted to ask you about was what are zines? I talked to a few coworkers and friends, telling them about the event, and was kind of surprised to hear so many people ask, well, what exactly is that? So, what are zines and why are they so cool?
Yeah, zines, I think it means different things to different people, but basically how I see it is kind of cheaply printed, accessible things that artists have made. So any artist, small artist book that they've usually put together themselves. But it can actually be something more official. I actually have 2 zines with a publisher, actually. These 2 zines here are actually published by a publisher and put to stores.
Yeah.
Is it a zine? Some people maybe be like, I don't know.
Where do you draw the line? Yeah.
You know, because I didn't staple it, but then I have these where I literally printed it and stapled it myself. So I think most people think of zines like that.
Yeah.
The history of them, like, as far as zines like this, have been around since the photocopier, basically.
Right.
But then even before that, apparently in the French Revolution, like they would call them zines that have little pamphlets of revolutionary ideas that people would share, and that's how revolutionary ideas in French Revolution actually got shared.
And so the idea hasn't really changed very much, right? It's a means of disseminating information, right?
Exactly. And so, and lots of people today, it's had a real resurgence in popularity like the last 5 years, I feel.
I've noticed the same thing.
Yeah, and so today it's a lot of personal stuff too. And especially queer identity stuff. And so that's why as LGBT Merced, we were putting this together too.
Yes.
Because it's a way to share personal experiences and so people don't feel alone, right? And people want to share.
Stories that might have a hard time getting in front of people,
exactly.
right? You know,
or aren't commercially super viable and popular, you know, so people self-print it and we trade, and it's just like this lovely little community of trading art and stories.
Yeah, and that's really what I wanted to highlight as well, is just the strength of this is community and diversity.
Yeah.
So many different perspectives and stories, and even just what you can expect to find in a zine. I'm always, when I see zines anywhere in a shop or something, I get so excited because I literally have no idea what any of these are about, what's in them.
I love
the
that
ideas
too.
can be like super eclectic or super organized, and how-to guides, recipes. I don't know. Just
I love
so much
because it could be anything.
journals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love the surprise too because it can be literally anything. I just got traded this zine that someone just bought and came to trade 3 good cookies, right? Recipes. There's a zine out there that the students for Palestine at UC Merced put together, like together as a collective. So they can come together as a collective or just one single artist or just, it's literally anything.
No, it's incredible, and it's inspiring to see the work of others. And again, I think that speaks to community. You have one here today that you were able to trade away for some of your work.
Absolutely.
So just a very powerful way of sharing perspectives with one another, and
it's a beautiful little
better
community.
Than your own community, even though I know it. I know back in the day people would mail them to each other and stuff. That still happens.
Absolutely, that still happens.
So you're here representing an organization. Can you tell me a little bit about the organization? Why you all put this on?
So I put together LGBTQ Merced with my friend Mickey in 2023, like the summer. So it's been going 1.5 years, so a little more than a year. And it's been so great. So we put together LGBTQ Merced, and so we put together the ZineFest in cooperation with Mike at Red Sky Comics. And then other stuff that LGBTQ Merced does is, so Gokloon over there has a table, and they do a community art making event at Coffee Band. It's monthly. And then we also have a free pizza social monthly. And then also a board game meetup at Red Sky Comics. And
so I thought that was the same group. I've seen the flyers outside of. I'm a loyal customer to Red Sky. That's actually how I found out about this. And,
great, awesome. He's just great. He's been in the community for so long, like just in the Merced community, and just creating community events on his own too.
I agree.
And so,
it's one of the reasons it's so easy to support him. You know what I mean? Seeing how a part of the local community he's become.
And just building community. I don't know. That's just what I do. Seems to be what I do organically, and just like I love putting together events and seeing who shows up. And there's always lovely people, especially when you put together queers. You put together queer people. It's always amazing and sweet and supportive, and just we've never had any drama. And
that's incredible.
At events, and just building the community, and people are just hungry for it, and we can see that today.
That's evident today, and I think it's incredible that because I see. I mentioned earlier I play in a band, so I'm up and down California. I see this happening other places, especially like the Bay Area and stuff. But
like a Zine Fest.
Yeah, but I've never seen it happen here.
Oh, this is the first. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Amazing.
So Fresno has
so happy someone did that.
Yeah, Fresno has had some the last couple years, which is great too. But this is a first for Merced. We're pretty darn sure.
Yeah.
Sour milk is great.
Sour milk,
yep. So I tabled there, and it was it was smaller.
Yeah.
So actually, we've put together. Yeah. I'm just so heartwarmed by all the people that showed up for this event.
Yeah, I'm glad it's a success as well. So one of the things I wanted to mention, I noticed you mentioned having events over at Coffee Bandits.
Yeah.
I had seen a workshop on how to make your own zines.
Yeah.
So again, speaking to the how cheap it is, how accessible it is.
Exactly. So that was just a pop up, like I said. So we have a monthly craft day, and I just showed up and said, let's do zines this one day.
Okay.
And like this little guy here, this is a piece of note paper, printer paper.
Right.
You make one cut and you fold it in the right way, and it's a zine. So you bring paper and pens, and people make a zine.
And just like that, you're an independent publisher.
And kids too. This is so great for kids. Like you go to the San Francisco Zine Fest, which is huge, and I recommend everyone go to that too. And all these there's so many Zine Fests now. Like I said, it's this renaissance, I think, of Zine Fests. San Francisco Zine Fest in particular has so many San Francisco city schools putting together like hundreds of kid zines.
That's
Those are my favorites, actually.
No, that's amazing.
Some of my favorite titles were How to Eat a Hot Dog, which some kid
practical information,
Totally. And one kid just drew a big mouth and it goes chomp, and that's it. And the other one was Small Hamster, Big Adventures.
That's amazing.
Anyway, so they're it could be anything, and it's just so wonderful. Yeah.
So,
how you doing?
Hello.
I'm doing really good. We are totally doing a podcast right now. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's great. Yeah, have a look at that. I finally finished that last night because it was my deadline. But that was it was today. Yeah. I've been wanting to do this for a year, but it finally came together last night. I think that's how these things usually do.
Yeah.
It has a very complex ending, and this is about for the podcast, like a brief history of queer politics in Merced, which is quite messy. And it's messy and it's complicated. So yeah, if you want a messy, complicated look, yeah, great. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for that. Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Maybe it's good for the podcast.
Yeah, no, I love that.
What made you want to do this brief history of queer politics?
Well, yeah, sure. Because I've been involved for a long time. Yeah, and since I've been involved for a long time, people ask me about it all the time. You know what? I'm just going to put this to paper. Because people want to know. Like, there used to be a Pride Center on G Street. I don't know if you've been here since then. It has all of that. Who started it? Merced Full Spectrum and...
Sorry. Who used to organize it? I used to know them. I met them right when I moved to Merced. I forgot.
So it had two iterations. The first was Jordan Kalman, Melissa Eisner at Coffee Bandits, and then Marissa Chavez, I believe. And then it closed, and it reopened with Jazz, actually, as president. And I'd have to look at the book. But a couple of... Tony Moreno. Is any of those the people? Beck Stroud. Angie Baxter. That one. Yes. So she was in the second iteration of it. Yeah. So it's complicated. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I couldn't even, because it's like 30 pages and it's just like it's a lot. So thank you for supporting that too. That was a lot of work. That one. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's be in touch. Thank you. Awesome. Hello. That's free. You can have that. It was in my grandma's house. Yeah. It was just free. It was in my grandma's house. I don't know. People do that too. They just bring free stuff, bring stuff to trade that's interesting to other people who like art and little bits of printing. Yeah, cheap printing. I like it because it's accessible. I think we kind of touched on that a little bit. Like, this is accessible art that everyone can afford. That part of it.
Right, even sometimes tearing up other art. I love seeing collage work and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
In
absolutely.
zines and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
It's a way of reappropriating like corporate art and
absolutely
reinterpreting it through your lens.
We did that a bit in here, actually. A lot of this was collage. We came together on the Transgender Day of Visibility last year, a bunch of trans-identified artists, and made this zine, which was largely collages. Yeah, so really reappropriating. Cool. I love all of it, Yeah, absolutely.
So that actually touches on the next question I wanted to mention. So could you tell me a little bit about some of the artists that are included today? I saw Oscar, who's a friend of mine. That was really cool. And then Red Sky, I mentioned.
Yeah. Absolutely. So Gakmoon over there is part of LGBT Merced leadership team too. So like I said, they do the arts and crafts day once monthly at Coffee Bandits. They do all sorts of art. They do hand-printed totes, hand-painted totes, but they have a zine about ableism right now, which is just so cool. I mean, there's just so much stuff. I actually haven't had a chance myself to really walk around a lot today yet.
Oh, yeah.
It's been,
Busy,
so I've been a little bit stuck, but yeah. I know that Oscar received a grant to make that comic about his immigration experience and his family's immigration experience.
Yeah, it's really good. I finally got a chance to sit down with it.
I've gotten through like a quarter of it, I think. Yeah. There's so much beautiful people here. And people came from all the way from Davis and Tracy.
Oh, wow.
And then Madeira to a table here.
I had
we
no
have
idea.
Outside Blaft Publishing is based actually in Chennai, India, but they have family in Madeira.
Okay.
And they translate from different languages queer and anti-caste sci-fi.
Oh, wow.
Such cool stuff. So there's
Really
just
cool.
really deeply cool stuff here.
Yeah.
A lot. My good friend Jackie is a therapist, a working therapist, and she wrote a couple of workbooks focused on the queer experience in relationships and like just empowering queer people in their relationships. And then another workbook about trauma because we all got trauma.
Amazing.
Yeah. And she's incredible.
Yeah.
Everyone here's
I'm actually going to take some time afterwards to go look at it myself.
Yeah.
You know, I was just sitting over there a second ago going over the, possible questions and stuff like that. But definitely going to go and hopefully get some footage and take photos and stuff. Okay, one last thing I wanted to talk to you about before we wrap it up. I'd very much like to discuss your art and kind of what it means to you, what you're attempting to express, and the fact that you're published by Microcosm. That was a big one. I was like, really? Here in Merced? I know I get to meet somebody that's been published. Again, you mentioned earlier some of the bigger indies that almost border on, is it still a zine?
Is it a
thing?
zine if it's as a publisher and distribution? I don't know, but I think so. They call them zines because they're little pamphlets. But actually, I'm actually excited because this one, the Next Level Ally, they've invited me to make it into an actual book. Awesome. So I'm going to be writing that this year.
That's incredible.
And so I have a book.
So you're writing a book? That's amazing.
Wow, that's like crazy. As far as my art, it's complete. You were talking about the diversity and randomness. Like, there's so much random stuff here. It's all my different interests. Star Trek, heavily. Star Trek stickers.
Oh, awesome.
I was very happy. This idea for the zine about the regional breakfast meats of America was kicking around for several years, and so I was really happy I finally got that together. Scrapple, are you familiar with Scrapple or Geta? Or anyways, there's all these weird regional meats. Breakfast meats. Anyway,
I was unaware.
So regional breakfast meats, the history of queer politics in Merced, a book about weeds. This is probably actually my most popular seller. These are the only two left about weed. And it's just like, what is a weed? It's only a weed because people called it that, but maybe it's beautiful on its own.
Could it be just a matter of perspective? What's a weed and what's a flower?
Yeah. So then my book's about the queer experience, and then different. At heart, I really wish I was an illustrator. Put it this way: I am an illustrator. I wish I could make money by it. Is what I mean.
Right.
But yeah, so my illustrations, like from New York, there's a lot of them from New York that people had requested I make prints of. Where I draw with pen and ink, like dip pen and ink on paper, and then scan it and color it digitally.
Nice.
So that's my illustration style.
Photography too, right?
And then some
you have
photography.
A Journal of Nature Photography.
I definitely do. So I have the case for Slow Sport, which I'm also took many years to put together.
Yeah.
This one's got a typo on it, so it's on sale. But my nature photography, just over 15 years. I'm a big backpacker, and I biking too, bike packing or bike touring is really. So I go on roads. So I've actually bicycled across most of the United States at this point.
That's amazing.
So there's pictures from those kinds of journeys. And it's really against, because I was explaining it to someone before, this book is really against, it's because I love sports and being active and being outdoors, but why is it always got to be who's fastest or who's toughest? Right. You know what I mean?
Can you just do it for
the
love
love
of...
enjoy it, backpack and take a picture of the flowers? That's what that book's
way
about.
To take the fun out of it, huh?
And so at some point in my life, I was like, God damn it, I'm going to take a picture of the flowers. And
that's an interesting perspective you're sharing. I like that.
And that's what that book's about. So this is just about all the things that are in my head, I guess, is how to sum it up.
That's actually what I was going to ask is what inspires or motivates you to explore so many different mediums?
Well, honestly, going to zine fests, really, and seeing what people do, because people have come by here and they're like, oh, gosh, I could do that in a sense. You know what I mean?
Wow.
That's the other part of it, that accessibility part of it.
Yeah.
You know? So I started going to ZineFest who knows when, and I'm like, I could make something like that, or I have a great idea, and just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Take it to Kinko's, and there it is.
Kind of lowering that barrier to entry really just,
Exactly.
is what allows for so many unique and interesting ideas to flourish,
That's what I feel, like not everything has to be a novel. I actually took a teeny writing course more than a decade ago, and they were like, everything has its natural length. Don't try to make it into a novel if it's not. If it's a short story, it's a poem, it's a whatever, let it be what it's going to be. And I've always taken that to heart too.
No, that's good bits of advice.
And I love this art form because, you can be anything you want it to be, any length. Yeah.
Awesome. So this has been incredible talking with you. Thank you so much for taking the time to actually sit down.
Oh gosh, no, thank you for the opportunity.
Your work and the work of others.
Yeah.
You did mention that you're planning on having more of these, right?
We would like to, yes. Yeah. Mike was saying twice a year. I haven't committed to that exactly yet, but
something like that.
At least annually for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're still talking about it, but this is such a beautiful event today. We definitely have to do it again.
Yeah, most definitely. This has definitely been successful. I would love to see another one happen. I'll be here again. So,
thank you so much for the opportunity.
Where can people find out more about your artwork or the organization? Or
so you
event?
you should follow us, LGBTQ Merced, on the Instagram and Facebook. For sure. We have a website with a calendar of events, and actually there are other queer organizations in town, also their events, so we like to share everybody's events on our website calendar. And you could follow me at Eli Sachse, and so I think it's a weird to spell, so you should put that in the comments.
I just thought about that too. I saw you Substack too. I'm like, you really do a little bit of everything.
Yeah. The Substack has been working for me. That's newer, but it's like makes a really nice newsletter. So people who like the email newsletter kind of like that one. Yeah.
Really cool. And I'll include all of that in the show notes so people can easily access all these. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Awesome
I super appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity.
Awesome.